The night was still, too still. A faint light flickered from the bathroom as Kemi stood before the mirror. In her trembling palm was Deji, begging for mercy. But Kemi only smiled, slow, dark, and satisfied. "You'll listen to me now," she whispered, her voice trembling with power. "From today, you will do everything I say." She began to chant softly at first, then louder, her voice filling the room like an ancient spell carried by the wind. Deji screamed as a strange force pulled him from her palm, twisting his tiny body into the swirling bottle that shimmered with eerie light. Kemi laughed wickedly, triumphantly, and hurled the bottle out of the window. But just as it flew, Bingo lunged from the shadows, trying to catch it before it shattered. And in that moment, Deji jolted awake, gasping for air, drenched in sweat, his heart pounding. It was a dream, or so he thought. The ceiling fan made a dull ticking sound as night wrapped itself around the apartment. Kemi sat at the edge of the bed, her hands clasped tightly, holding her emotions in place like they might spill if she loosened her fingers even a little. From the living room, Deji's voice cut through the silence.
"Kemi, I told you I don't like cold food. Why is it so hard for you to do something this simple?"
His tone wasn't raised out of anger, just irritation, the kind that stung deeper because it sounded routine, expected, practiced. Kemi wiped her eyes quickly and stood up. In the living room, she found Deji scrolling on his phone, barely glancing her way. On the floor, Bingo, their dog, wagged his tail excitedly.
"Good boy,"
Deji murmured, rubbing Bingo's head. That small warm tone. Kemi hadn't heard it directed at her in months. She cleared the plates quietly. Bingo followed her for a moment, tail wagging, before bouncing back to lie at Deji's feet. And in a soft chuckle, sometimes she wondered if Bingo felt more like a partner in this home than she did. Kemi washed the dishes slowly, focusing on the steady rhythm of water and clinking plates. Anything to drown out the growing ache in her chest. When she returned, Deji still hadn't looked up. "Good night," she said softly. He didn't answer, not even a nod. Bingo barked once, as if responding for him. Kemi forced a small smile for the dog's sake, then quietly returned to the bedroom. She lay down facing the wall, hugging her pillow the way she wished someone would hug her. Deji soon joined, sliding into bed without a word. Kemi blinked back a tear. "What a home," she murmured. And yet, lying there in the dim room, she felt painfully alone, like a guest in her own marriage. Her eyes stayed open long after the house fell quiet, sadness settling in her chest like a weight she didn't know how to lift. She didn't want to cry again. She didn't want to feel like this forever. So, she closed her eyes slowly, quietly, wishing tomorrow would feel different. Morning broke softly over Yaba. Kemi stood by the kitchen window, staring blankly at the street below. Deji had already left. No goodbye, no glance, just the sound of the door shutting behind him. Only Bingo wagged his tail near her feet, waiting for breakfast. She poured the dog's food, sighing. It was strange how a small creature could make her feel more seen than the man she shared a bed with. By the time she got to the office complex at Turulere, the compound was already alive with chatter. As she parked, her eyes drifted to the next car, Dupe's car. Her colleague's boyfriend was there, stepping out quickly to open her door. He took her back gently, whispered something that made her laugh, then walked her right up to the building. Kemi paused for a moment, watching quietly through the window. The tenderness in that man's eyes looked rare, almost unreal. At first, she brushed it off, but as days went by, she noticed it wasn't a one-time thing. Every morning, Dupe's man was there. Same warmth, same care, like she was the most important woman in the world. Kemi tried not to compare, but she couldn't help it. Could a man truly be that gentle, that present, or was she simply unlucky with Deji? The day crawled by slowly. Kemi could barely concentrate at work. Every little thing reminded her of how empty her marriage had become. The laughter from her colleagues, the affectionate phone calls between Dupe and her man. even the simple take care from a colleague of hers. At the close of work, she stopped at the market to buy some groceries. The air was thick with the smell of fried plantain, pepper, and dust. Traders called out, their voices overlapping in a familiar Lagos rhythm. Kemi moved from one stall to another, picking tomatoes and onions when a soft voice spoke beside her. "Don't buy that one, my dear. Her pepper is watery." Kemi turned. An older woman stood beside her, mid-50s maybe, with calm eyes that seemed to see too much. She wore a simple blue wrapper and a tray of herbs and roots in front of her. "Thank you, ma," Kemi said politely. "You sell herbs?" The woman smiled faintly. "Yes, but more than that. I help people heal what medicine cannot touch." Kemi tried to smile back, unsure what to say, but something about the woman's voice made her pause. The kind of calm that slipped into your thoughts before you realized it. "You look troubled," the woman added gently. "A good woman should not carry pain alone. It weakens her spirit." Kemi shifted uncomfortably. "I'm fine, ma." The woman nodded slowly as though she didn't believe her. Fine is what people say when their hearts are bleeding quietly. If you ever need peace, real peace, find me at number 14 Ifelodun Street. Ask for Mama Shade. Before Kemi could ask what she meant, someone bumped into her from behind. She turned to apologize, and when she looked back, the woman was gone. That night, Kemi sat up on the bed staring into the darkness as Deji snored beside her. The words, "If you ever need peace, find me," wouldn't leave her mind. Maybe it was nonsense, maybe it wasn't, but somehow, deep inside, she felt that whatever Mama Shade meant by peace might be something she desperately needed. It started innocently, an office chat over lunch. "Madam Ada's baby dedication is this Sunday, oh," someone had announced. "Come oh, bring your spouses oh, there'll be plenty to eat and drink. I don't want only us to enjoy." Everyone laughed and clapped, teasing her. Kemi smiled too, but the words, "bring your spouses," echoed in her chest like a warning bell. When Sunday came, she dressed up in her soft blue gown and gold earrings. She looked beautiful. Even Bingo seemed to think so, wagging his tail as if admiring her. "Deji, please wear something nice so we can go for that event I told you about," she said softly. He didn't even glance up from his phone.
You go. I am not interested in your office things.
Kemi stood for a moment, disappointment rising like a tide. Then, she picked her bag, managed a faint smile, and left. Only Bingo's eyes followed her to the door. At the event, laughter and camera flashes filled the hall. Every colleague came with their partner. Every seat, every hand, every smile seemed to mock her loneliness. She sat beside Dupe, who looked stunning and utterly unbothered, as if she came prepared to pepper her. Her man sat close, hand on her waist, whispering things that made her giggle every few seconds. At one point, she kissed his cheek, then brushed something invisible off his collar just to show off. Kemi forced a smile, clapping when others did. But inside, something cracked. 3 years of marriage and she was still begging for what others received effortlessly. In that moment, she made a resolve, not loudly, not dramatically, just a quiet, burning resolve. The next evening after work, Kemi didn't drive home. Instead, she found herself steering the wheel toward Ifelodun Street. Her heart thudded with every turn she took. She had expected a quiet, modest area, maybe filled with street vendors and rusted zinc roofs, but what she saw stunned her. Ifelodun Street shimmered under the glow of gold-plated streetlights. Elegant mansions lined both sides. What will the local herb seller be doing in a place like this? She wondered, confusion written all over her face. When she finally found number 14, she parked hesitantly by the curb. The compound loomed large, marble walls, a black steel gate, and a faint scent of burning incense floating in the air. A tall security man approached. "Good evening, ma'am. Who are you looking for?" Kemi told him, and within minutes, she was ushered into an all-white room. Too clean, too quiet. The air felt heavy with mystery. She sat nervously, her palms damp. The woman who entered moments later was not what she expected. Shade was dressed in flowing white, her hair neatly wrapped, her presence commanding but calm. Her voice was soft, yet filled with strange authority. You found your way here, huh? Shade said, smiling faintly. I knew you would. Kemi swallowed hard. I just wanted to understand what you said the other day. Shade's eyes held hers like a trap. You don't need to understand, my dear. You only need to decide on what you want to do with your husband. A chill ran down Kemi's spine. The ticking clock on the wall sounded louder. At first, Kemi frowned, wondering how Shade knew why she had come. Shade only laughed softly, her white beads jingling as she repeated the question, slower this time, her tone darker. Fear crept up Kemi's spine. My dear, Shade began, you are not the first woman to walk through that door. Many Lagos wives come here, some for money, others for power, but most, she paused, locking eyes with Kemi, just want their husbands back. Kemi nodded slowly. Yes, I want my husband's attention. All of it. Shade smiled knowingly. Good. Then, come with me. She led Kemi into a smaller room that looked exactly how Kemi had imagined the shrine would be. Dim, smoky, and lined with ancient pots. From one earthen pot, Shade carefully drew out a bottle and handed it to Kemi. You will have to trap his soul inside this bottle, Shade said, handing it to her. Once he's in, command him to do whatever you please. He'll be yours completely. Kemi's eyes widened. Really? That's all? No herbs? No potion? Shade chuckled. It's that easy. Just ensure no other eyes ever see the bottle after you have trapped him. If anyone does, the consequence will be grave. A shiver ran through Kemi, but pride silenced her fear. Better to bottle the idiot than keep begging for love, she thought. She thanked Shade, tucked the mysterious bottle carefully into her bag, and walked out of the White House as though nothing ever happened. By the time Kemi got home, it was dark. Bingo barked the moment she stepped out of the car. Sharp, restless barks that refused to stop. Keep quiet, stupid dog, she snapped, but the animal only barked louder, pacing in circles like it could smell something strange on her. When it tried to drag her handbag with its teeth, Kemi lost patience and kicked it aside. Bingo whimpered and crawled away but didn't stop barking. She ignored it and walked into the house as usual. She set Deji's food on the table, took a quick bath and went to bed. Deji joined her later, muttering something under his breath before dozing off, snoring like thunder. When the wall clock struck 1 a.m., Kemi quietly got up from bed. Her heart beat fast as she opened the small pouch Shade had given her. From it, she took a pinch of fine grape powder and blew it gently over Deji's face. He stared once, then fell into a heavier, deeper sleep. Then, Kemi reached under the bed and brought out the bottle. Cold and glowing faintly under the moonlight, she opened it slowly and began to chant the strange words Shade had taught her. The air grew thick. The bed lamp flickered. Then Deji's body arched slightly and something invisible, a smoky essence, drifted from his chest straight into the bottle. Quickly, Kemi sealed it and silence filled the room again. Deji lay still, breathing evenly. It was done. Kemi clutched the bottle tightly, trembling. She knew keeping it inside was risky. The house was too small, too open. She had to hide it before anyone, even by accident, laid eyes on it. Wrapping it inside a black nylon bag, she tiptoed out through the back door. But just as she stepped outside, Bingo was there, standing by the doorway, teeth bared, eyes glowing in the dark. The dog growled, then barked furiously, like it could see the evil she carried. Stupid animal. Kemi hissed and hurried back inside, slamming the door shut behind her. Leaning against the wall, she clutched the bag to her chest, breathing hard. Shade's warning echoed in her head. The repercussion will be grave. She knew she had to act fast. Kemi woke up to a scent that almost didn't make sense. Fried eggs, toasted bread, and hot tea. She blinked, thinking she was still dreaming. But there was Deji, standing by the bed, tray in hand, smiling softly.
Good morning, baby,
he said, voice calm, almost tender.
You should eat before it gets cold.
For a moment, Kemi just stared, her heart racing. Deji had never done that before. Breakfast in bed, not even when she was sick. She forced a shaky smile. Thank you, she whispered. He kissed her forehead lightly and left the room whistling. The sound echoed in her ears long after the door shut. She knew it. The bottle was already working, but there was a problem. Shade's words replayed in her mind. No eyes must see it. Keeping it hidden in the house was dangerous. Their home was too small, and if Deji or anyone found it, the consequences would be grave. So, after he left for work, Kemi locked the door and knelt beside the bed. With trembling hands, she pulled the black nylon from underneath. The bottle pulsed faintly like a trapped heart. Inside, something moved. Deji's essence, restless and helpless, jumping like a frog. Kemi shivered, a mix of fear and power washing over her. Now, you're under my control, she murmured. She grinned, wrapped the bottle carefully and slid it into her handbag. She wasn't going to bury it. Oh no, not in broad daylight. She'll take it to work. Keep it close until she could find a safer place to hide it. At work, Kemi became the talk of the office. She carried her handbag everywhere, to the graphics meetings, to lunch, even to the restroom. Colleagues exchanged confused glances, whispering behind her, but Kemi didn't care. Better their stares than stories that touched the heart, she thought, clutching the bag tightly like it held her life. Meanwhile, Deji, who normally stayed out late, left work unusually early. He drove straight to the market, smiling to himself for no reason. He bought vegetables, meat, spices, things he didn't even know how to pick right. Then hurried home like a man pressed with shit. The moment he opened the door, Bingo ran to him, tail wagging, barking excitedly.
Come on, boy.
Deji laughed. Together, they entered the kitchen, a place Deji had never willingly gone into. He rolled up his sleeves, humming softly as he cooked. Something in him burned with excitement, like he was preparing a feast for royalty. By the time Kemi returned, the aroma of stew filled the air. But before she could step fully into the house, Bingo's mood changed. The dog froze, then started barking. Not the playful kind, but wild, furious, threatening.
Bingo, stop that nonsense.
Deji shouted, but Bingo wouldn't stop. The moment Kemi opened the door, it lunged at her, knocking Kemi to the ground, barking as if possessed.
Jesus, Bingo, stop!
Deji yelled, dragging the dog by the collar. He beat it hard, something he had never done before, until Bingo whimpered and retreated to its kennel. Deji turned quickly, panic in his eyes.
Are you okay, Kemi?
She nodded slowly, dusting herself. I'm fine. Deji, help me up. His touch was soft and careful. Then, almost like a servant, he took off her shoes, fetched her slippers, and hurried to prepare her bathwater. Kemi smiled, that smile of quiet victory. Thank you, Deji. Still clutching her handbag, she walked toward the bathroom, hips swaying slightly. Behind her, Deji followed like a shadow, eager like a local dog. And as she closed the bathroom door, Kemi caught her reflection in the mirror. For a split second, her eyes looked darker, sharper, almost not her own. After taking her bath, Kemi sat on the edge of the bed, her heart racing. She reached for her handbag and slowly unzipped it. Inside, wrapped in the black nylon, was the bottle. She pulled it out carefully, inspecting it under the dim bedside lamp. The glass shimmered faintly, and there it was, Deji's essence, still trapped inside, swirling like smoke, hitting the sides of the bottle helplessly. Kemi's lips curved into a grin. Still here, my dear husband, she whispered, still dancing to my tune. Satisfied, she tucked it back gently, zipped the bag, and laid down. From the doorway, Deji peeked in like a man waiting for permission to breathe.
Do you need anything else, my love?
He asked softly. Kemi jolted up with a forced smile. No, you have done well. She thought she had been caught. But Deji smiled with pride, like a child who had earned praise, and stepped outside. In the backyard, Bingo's eyes followed him from the kennel, glowing faintly in the dark. The dog barked once, then again, desperate, restless.
quiet.
Deji backed back, his tone colder than ever. He grabbed the cage lock, slammed it shut, and kicked the kennel hard. Stupid dog, he muttered, walking away. Bingo whimpered, scratching the bars, trying to speak. The warning his mouth couldn't form. Oh, if only dogs could talk. Hours later, silence dripped the night. The street slept, except for Kemi. She slipped out of the bed, clutching the black bag tightly. Her eyes darted around before she stepped into the cool darkness. The moon hung low, watching her every move. She walked to the back of the house, to the small patch of bush behind the fence. There, she stopped, breathing heavily. With her bare hands, she began to dig. The soil was damp, soft, eager to swallow secrets. When the hole was deep enough, she looked around one last time. No eyes, no sound, only the crickets. She pulled out the bottle. Inside, the trapped essence pulsed faintly like a dying flame. Kemi smiled wickedly. You will always do as I say. You will always give me everything I demand. Then she wrapped it inside a nylon, dropped it into the hole, covered it with soil, and stood to her feet. A faint wind brushed against her cheek, whispering through the trees, almost like a warning. But Kemi only smiled and walked back into the house, dusting her hands. Behind her, Bingo whimpered again, low, fearful, knowing something terrible had just been sealed beneath the earth. The next morning came with strange calmness. Birds chirped, the air smelled of rain, and Deji was up before dawn, humming, smiling, cleaning like a man whose soul had been washed. When Kemi stepped out, dressed for work, Deji ran ahead of her, almost tripping over himself. He opened the car door and knelt beside it, grinning like a child who had just found treasure.
Have a beautiful day, my queen,
he said, eyes glowing with blind devotion. Kemi chuckled softly, hiding her satisfaction. It was working. From that day, it became routine. Every morning, Deji would rush outside barefoot, sometimes still in his undershirt and boxers, just to open Kemi's car door and kneel. If she forgot her bag, he would dash inside, grab it, and return, panting, all smiles. Soon, the neighbors began to whisper. Faces peered from behind curtains. Isn't that the same man who once shouted at his wife in public? Maybe she's using something on him, another whispered. And though Kemi pretended not to hear, the corners of her lips curved each time she cut their stairs. At night, Deji would massage her feet, cook her meals, sing her praises till he falls asleep. The once proud man was now her shadow, obedient, helpless, completely bound. Only Bingo seemed to sense the wrongness. He barked every night at the backyard, his cries echoing like warnings no one could understand. After weeks of locking Bingo away, Deji's heart finally softened.
He has learnt his lesson,
he murmured one evening, unlocking the kennel. The dog wagged its tail weakly, limping out like a prisoner tasting freedom again. From that day, Deji allowed Bingo to roam, but only when Kemi wasn't home. During the day, he stayed in the house quietly, and at night, he wandered freely around the compound like the old times. One night, when the moon was high and the air still, Bingo crept out as usual. His nose twitched. Something in the bush called to him, faint, strange, familiar. He sniffed, poked, and began to dig restlessly, as though guided by an unseen hand. Then, suddenly, he froze beneath the soil, under the shadow of a tree. A faint whisper stirred his master's voice. Bingo whimpered, ears erect, tail stiff. With a sharp bark, he turned and bolted back toward the house, scratching at the door until Deji came out sleepily. This stubborn dog again, Deji grumbled, dragging him back into the kennel, not understanding the dog. By dawn, Kemi left for work as usual. Deji, ever the doting husband, also went to work, leaving Bingo locked inside the house. But the moment the door clicked shut, Bingo leapt out through the window. It ran straight toward the bush behind the compound, the same spot it had been drawn to the night before. Sniffing and digging furiously, it unearthed the black nylon buried beneath the damp soil. The dog didn't know what it was, but instinct told him his master would be happy he found it. Back at her office, Kemi suddenly jerked upright from her seat, her heart racing. A sharp wave of emptiness swept through her chest as though something had been ripped away. Without thinking, she grabbed her car keys and sped off, waving through the Lagos traffic, her palms slick with sweat. "Something's wrong. I have to go home," she muttered. Meanwhile, Deji closed early from work. Cheerful as always, he whistled all the way home, excited to cook dinner for his lovely wife. When he opened the door, Bingo barked happily, wagging its tail and holding up the dirty nylon in its mouth.
What's this, boy?
Deji asked, bending to pick it up. Just as he was about to touch it, Kemi burst through the door, eyes wild, her gaze locked instantly on the nylon. "Deji, drop it!" she screamed. Startled, Deji froze. Then, like an obedient child, he dropped it and turned toward her. But Bingo growled, snatched the bag again and began tearing it apart. "Stop it! Stop! Bingo!" Kemi cried, running toward him. But it was too late. The nylon ripped open and the bottle rolled out. Inside it, a tiny ghostly image of Deji fluttered and crashed helplessly.
What's this?
Deji whispered, crouching in disbelief. "Don't touch it," Kemi cried, tears streaming down her face. "Please, Deji, don't." But it was too late. The moment Deji's fingers brushed the bottle, it shattered into pieces. A blinding light surged through the room as Deji's essence rushed back into his body. Deji gasped, clutching his chest. Then, silence. Slowly, he turned to Kemi.
Kemi, what have you done?
Kemi stared at him, trembling. Then, suddenly, she burst into laughter, wild, broken laughter that filled the room. She tore off her wig, revealing her bald head, and ripped her blouse open as she screamed, "I put them inside bottle. Inside bottle, I put him." Before Deji could comprehend what was going on, she ran out of the compound, laughing and screaming. Neighbors poured out, watching in shock as the once beautiful and classic Kemi Ajibade danced barefoot in the dust, shouting at invisible spirits. And from that day, Kemi roamed the streets of Lagos, dirty, bald, and mad, muttering the same words over and over again. "Inside bottle, I put them. I put them inside bottle." Deji never truly returned to himself, though his mind was clear. His soul carried a weight too heavy to bear. Each time he walked through the house, the echo of Kemi's laughter haunted him. He blamed himself, his neglect, his pride, his coldness pushed his wife into the arms of darkness. Kemi, now lost to the world, wandered far from Lagos, her laughter echoing through unknown streets, her eyes empty, her soul gone. No one ever knew her whereabouts. As for Bingo, the loyal dog, he stayed by the house gate for days, waiting for the woman who once kicked him. When no one came, he held under the moonlight, a cry for a family broken beyond repair. Moral lesson: when love turns into pride and silence replaces care, the home becomes a battlefield. Kemi's hunger for affection and Deji's lack of empathy built the very monster that destroyed them. Power gained through dark means always ends in darkness. In all, true love isn't about control, it's about understanding. When we fail to water what we love, someone or something else will, and by the time we realize it, even the most loyal soul like Bingo might be the only one left to mourn what's lost. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story and would like to see more interesting stories of this sort, please consider subscribing to this channel, not forgetting to turn on your post notification icon so that when another video is being posted, you will be the first to be notified. Till we meet again in my next video, remain blessed.
What would you have done differently if you were in my shoes? Let me know in the comment section. If you love Folktales by Linda, make sure to share this video and don't forget to subscribe.